So you guys should be able to see me in here. So I'm the red, orange, and yellow guy. So I'm going through it. So again, with this, if you should be able to see me, that means I'm the hottest thing inside the video. Sorry, fellas, but that's just the way it's going to work out tonight. I am the hottest guy in the frame. Yeah, that was a couple of grins back there. I see it.
Say that.
You should see my bachelorette parties. They die over that one. Now, with that, what are we looking for in here? Blue and black spots. Those are the coldest spots in the frame at that particular moment. So what are we looking for? Them to take shape or to start moving on their own, normally in the shape of a person. This is a FLIR camera. This is what firemen use to actually help save people. This is the real deal. This is not a phone app. You will get the full recording of this, but we're going to do a few starts and stops, only because as great as the hardware is, the software sucks. If we record for too long, we will lose footage. So, Justin, was it?
Yep.
The one nodding his head going like you know everything about thermal imaging?
He's a lot of Ghost Adventures.
Yeah. Fair enough. So, with that, you're going to hold this horizontal, basically right-handed, keep your camera on your left-hand side. You can treat it just like a cell phone, just don't hold it by the camera, you'll pop it out. So I'll always give you the cues of when to kind of start and stop it.
Oh boy. Is it really red?
I don't know, it's pointing at Chris and it's very black right now.
So
Cold heart,
It's
mean
only on his
heart.
heart, right?
Yeah, that's right.
That's usually the joke that everybody plays on me. Nick, your heart is pretty black. What's going on there? All right, so the next crazy camera. I know, it's a black screen. Not very exciting, but again, proving a point here. So you should not be able to see me in this very dark camera, except for Andrea's light. We're going to turn on some lights with this guy. So you should be able to have an entire purple screen. What's that?
I said, yes, I have a light. My son's like, what?
So you should be able to have me in there now with a purple screen. We're working with infrared lighting with this guy. So basically we're working with lights you can't see with your own eyes. There's 4 on the camera itself, plus 20 on a torch at the top. The hope here is that we're going to be able to capture something we would not normally be able to capture with our own eyes. We're going to be using an accompanying item to go along with this to detect any kind of motion. Yes, it's a two-person job. So with that said, Tani, I think I'm going to go with you on this one.
All right.
So I already have it recording. We're going to do a few starts and stops on yours as well. So again, nice slow movements, the easier the better.
how do I start and stop?
Right there. I'm going to help you out.
Okay.
Let's see. Let's make sure I get this in the right set of hands because it belongs to a specific person. So, first off, this is the neuralizer from Men in Black. None of you are going to remember anything. Yeah, I thought I'd get a couple chuckles. So, lasers. Go ahead and kill your light for me. Let's make it the dramatic effect. So, lasers, the whole point of these is that the camera I just handed over to Tani won't be able to see the lasers until something passes through it. Again, we're going to be able to detect any kind of motion that pops up out of this guy. This one gives us red squares. Reason for red squares, if we capture something here, I'll take the still from the camera and I'll put it in 3D software. And it'll be able to give us a full 3D view of what we caught along with any kind of measurement to go along with it. So, with that said, Jen, I think we can go with you on this one.
Okay.
So, lasers always stay on the ground. This one has a button, you have to hold it to keep it on. You always want to make sure it's touching your toes so you have that in control. This one has a light switch, so once it's on, it's on. So again, you have to be very careful. Something you can forget and you can flash cards. There is a laser law in Charleston, no pressure. Let's get into spirit boxes. Spirit boxes are, we're going to be using several different styles of spirit boxes. If you're unfamiliar with spirit boxes, which a lot of you guys are like nodding your head, like, yeah, I know what the heck's going on here. So, spirit boxes are a way for us to communicate with the dead. So, this one in particular is going to kind of mimic what you guys see on your TV shows and your YouTube videos by playing white noise through the FM radio stations. So, the disembodied voices they give you on TV are kind of a misnomer. Like, I don't get 12 per session, right? I only get about 4 or 5 of those per year. So that way, this guy is actually set up to be slowed down. So basically what's going on here is we're listening for the radio chatter to come through. Any kind of song lyric, DJ, commercial, that's what we're listening for. It's a 50-50 shot. We could tie it to the location of where we are, a person in history we're discussing, or even something going on with one of you. It happens all the time. The cool thing is that the person using it is going to have an earbud in. They're going to be the only person to hear it in real time. So the cool thing, you're going to get the recording of it tomorrow morning. They can play with the volume all they want. It's going to be nice, even Steven for all of you tomorrow. I'm going to spot check it on top of writing down whatever this person hears in real time. So that way you guys get kind of a double whammy before you even get started on it. So Eric, I think this one's actually going to go to you because you haven't said a word yet. Did I get the name right, Eric? Yeah, all right, look at me go. So I don't want earbuds back, they're gross. So you get to keep your own earwax. They're all brand new. I buy them in bulk. The volume is right here at the top, so it's a wheel. I'm just making sure it's turned down for you. So go ahead and pop in one of those earbuds for me. I used 2 of them. The second one does not record. get Jasmine's attention, I'm going to give this one to her because this one needs entire good focus.
Got it.
So this one, Jasmine, is not recording, so I'm going to have to rely on you and whatever you hear in real time, so that way I can write it down and put it in everybody's notes for tomorrow morning.
Okay.
So again, your earwax is also gross. I don't want those back. Your volume button is turned all the way down, but it's the wheel at the top where my finger just was above the numbers.
Okay. I think this young lady would like to
Hi. Hey, how are you? This is my friend Amy, everybody. She's the co-host of my podcast. So
when we have one.
when we have one,
When we need to get back to that.
she shows up every now and again and just kind of surprises me. The next spirit box, everybody, is one we don't actually have to listen to. This one is going to give us words from time to time in the center of the screen. So this one's nice and easy. This is going to replace what you guys would see as an obelisk on your TV shows. An obelisk has about 2,000 words in it. This one has over 9,000 words in it. No, this is the one that, yeah. I'll pull that one up next so you can see it. All right, so it's going to give all of those words and terms, and it's going to save them to a list with timestamps. It kind of helps direct me on where to watch video, where to listen to Spirit Box recording, so forth and so on. The last group I did had 92 terms. That's a little excessive for a 2-hour time frame. So I started it off fresh for us. So Andrea, this one's going to go to you. This one's nice and easy. I will come to you when I want to see the word list. You don't have to show me every single term that shows up. Amy's here and she hasn't seen one of these yet, so
I'm excited.
this one is brand new to the market, everybody. It hasn't even been used on your TV shows yet. This is basically a digital Ouija board. So in essence, there are letters being flashed across the screen. Any EMF spike will actually make this thing stop on a letter and save it to a full list at the bottom. We're looking for anagrams, full spellings, and any kind of initials that might actually pop through this guy. We're going to start off with just letters. We may move it to numbers from time to time because that's a separate board. So the person using this does not record, so I'll be looking at it periodically to see if there's any kind of messaging in there as far as anagrams, full names, and initials. So I'll be kind of going through this slowly. Leah? Just you. She's like, I don't know. You said Ouija board.
I like a Ouija board.
You do?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think I just have to hold it, so that works for me.
Yeah, that's a nice.
Are you scanning everyone?
Where's the black part? Where's the black stuff?
It's all still pretty warm out here.
All right, last spirit box. So this guy works a little bit differently. It actually scans through both the FM and AM radio stations simultaneously and trying to omit any white noise that may come in between the stations. It's hopefully going to only give us terms in our 2-hour time frame together. So, and that's a rough estimate because I don't time this. We're out here for as long as we're out here. So, this guy, again, only about 10 to 12 terms. This is probably our most accurate spirit box that we actually have. This is about 75% accurate. So the things that come out of this guy are super cool. So I love this. I'm losing names. Travis. Travis, I think that one's going to go to you.
Why would I leave my purse in the car? Somebody could break
Yeah,
the
you're good.
window
It's
to
a new
get
bag.
to it.
Still trying to learn where everything is. You guys have seen these before on TV. So these are the EMF detectors that they use to basically say that there's way too much sensitivity activity up front. So we use these to try to help debunk things. Sorry, Steve threw me off there for a second. I'm like, what the heck's waiting back there? So we use these to debunk things. Any kind of electrical wiring, cell phone too close, that kind of thing. Like that's the way we're going to actually use this guy. Because this is such an easy job, that person is going to be double-fisted. They're also going to be taking random photos for us. And it's a good thing we don't have any teenagers on the group.
He's a photographer.
So,
Perfect.
well,
He
again,
likes to
it's a
take
simple
pictures.
point to shoot. So
Yeah.
it's a good thing he's getting both of these. So I didn't want to give you any kind of communication device, based on the information
larger.
that you gave me. So yeah, we're going to kind of see that. So you're going to actually get both
Am I
of
looking
those.
really hot?
Why do I have hurt?
105.
I'm going to tell you why you have a word first. Once I get to those devices.
What was the word?
Hurt.
Okay, I got it.
All right, so Chris, you're the last one. You seem like you're very technical, so I'm giving you like.
He's an engineer.
Oh, perfect.
Yeah.
I picked her up on that right away, did I? So basically, this is a millimeter. It has 3 different functions to it. So it has an EMF detection in it, just like the one that I handed over to Steve, but it's in digital format. It goes way higher. 2.5 and higher, I want to know what's going on. We'll debunk things first. The bottom is ambient temperature. In the event Justin actually finds something on his camera, you and I can debunk it or prove it pretty quickly with the ambient temperature at the very top. Last but not least, why everybody wants to use this guy is the motion sensor. In the event something gets close to the antenna, it's gonna go off. I'm not touching it right now. I'm touching it now. There's different tones and colors, but you and I are gonna discuss that even more like 2 stops from now when we start using that. But for now, you're kind of keeping tabs on everybody's gear by all the different functions that you have with this one.
Okay.
There's a lot going on with that piece of gear. Everybody's geared up, yes? All right.
Let's do it.
All right, Eric's in charge. Let me know what happens. No, I'm kidding. Don't go anywhere. Eric's like, I don't want to be in charge. All right.
To the bars.
To the bars.
I could find some weird
Oh, it's so much lighter. Thank you, guys.
How do you?
That makes things a whole lot easier for me.
This is ideal. Ouija board.
Ouija board.
Y'all are on the best tour of the town, so feel very fortunate.
She doesn't say that just because she's my
Is
partner
this
in
on
crime.
I'm not just saying that. No.
It's not a magic 8 ball.
No,
This is how I got stuck with
no.
Nick, because I took the tour.
This is how we met, actually. All right, so there's a reason why we start here. You guys hitting the Big John's?
Just
No. Okay, fair enough. So, Big John's. The place is haunted. Of course it is. It's why we start here. It's also a very specific reason why we start here. This place was named after a football player. His name was Big John Kennedy. Yes, he named it after himself. So he played for the 1947 New York Giants. Whenever I'm giving you the history of a location, I will always slow down on key words. I'm from the north, I talk pretty quick, so it's part of the reason why we record everything. So keywords here are going to be 47, New York, Giants, and anything relative to a bar in the name John. So kind of keep that in mind. But here's why the place is haunted. John used to sit in the back of the place at the bar, and he'd basically tell the bartender if the cadets that were coming over from the Citadel, if they were old enough to drink or not. One night, 2 guys came in. They're not old enough to drink. He has a bartender to roll them out. They left pretty pissed off, and they came back the next night and tried to steal the cash register from the front of the bar. John saw what was going on. He slammed down his beer and went over and just starts beating the hell out of these guys, pounding them right into the floor. A couple of gunshots went off. John got grazed in the neck, but the bullet landed behind him in the wall. He gets up after being the only one that's been shot. He goes back to the bar and tells the bartender to get him another beer, get the 2 guys on the floor, and ambulance. So, irony of the story, nobody died in that story. Normally, if I tell you that a building is haunted, you automatically think of some tragic death. Here's what's haunting the place. It's the bullet. It's allegedly still here. Even if the new renovation of Big John's filled it in, Big John's blood is now sealed inside the building. Anybody that sits in the front of the bar is usually subject to getting headaches, queasiness, nauseousness, those kind of things. Very light symptoms, which is part of the reason why we started here. We're seeking out paranormal activity, and I don't know how it's going to affect any of you. I can't guarantee that the ghosts are going to do anything tonight because the ghosts are not on the payroll, guys. I can't make them do anything. But if anybody feels any of those symptoms that I mentioned, I'll need to know immediately so we can move the whole group and get that person to safety. Is that fair?
Yeah.
I'm not always going to claim it as something paranormal, but we're always going to blame the heat community first. That's just what we do here. Let's get your mind off of our own health, because that's probably the scariest thing I'm going to tell you all night long. Big John's. If you guys haven't taken other historical tours around town, you haven't heard about the big earthquake that we had here in 1886. This building is allegedly where the first death occurred from that earthquake. Earthquakes are anomalous for us because we're supposed to have hurricanes, not earthquakes. But the white mantle you see in the middle of the building also wraps around the front. A piece of it broke off, struck somebody in the back of the head, and killed them. And they say you can see his ghost in the middle of the street in the middle of the night. Keep in mind, I don't have any proof of this story at all, other than hearsay. It's just a great segue, so nobody's thinking about getting sick on the tour, even though I just brought it up again. So, is everybody ready to go ghost hunting?
Let's do it.
All right, I know I talk a lot. You guys got to shut me up every once in a while. We're actually going to...
totally understand.
Right there with you. You guys coming with? You guys going in? Okay.
See you again, bud.
I might catch you up.
See you now.
Have fun.
Nicer than mine.
Is it good?
Y'all have fun. This is the best tour ever. I promise.
What am I supposed to alert him of if I feel?
If they start queasy, headache,
Question. With using this thing, will it come through the sound bites of the other radios that are being hooked up?
So before we fully get into like what goes on here, I'm going to further explain explain those spirit boxes that are using the radio stations and sweeping through FM frequencies. Those disembodied voices that you all hear on your TV shows, and it gives you some kind of growl, and then they try to convince you of what they actually just heard, those are a rarity. Again, I only capture about 4 or 5 of those per year, not 12 an episode. The method we're using here is because nobody here has been trained to listen to white noise for 2 hours at a time. Not to mention all the history I'm going to give, somebody's going to fall asleep. I'm allowing the radio chatter to come through. You're listening for the song lyrics, the DJs, the commercials. If you hear Drop It Like It's Hot and Welcome to Charleston, I want to know that you guys heard Drop It Like It's Hot and Welcome to Charleston. The word hot might be relevant to a fire that may have occurred in the location of where we're standing. So again, kind of get the gist of, and again, not every first clue is going to be like, oh my God, that's paranormal. You're going to see that as I kind of go through these examples. Does that further explain things, Jasmine? Okay, got it. Eric, you good on yours? So welcome to the Big Red Barn Lot, everybody. So those horses are inside and they can hear us, which is why we use earbuds for all of our spirit boxes or put them on mute. So Charles, I'm sorry, I didn't show you how to unmute that. On the right-hand side, there's only one button. So when I say it's safe to unmute it, you're going to unmute it. That's the only button you need to worry about. The history here is really, really simple, and I kept it that way on purpose so we can further explain your devices before we deep dive into much further history. This is the same red barn that used to hold horses that delivered milk and eggs to the residents of Charleston. That's it. Keywords being delivery, milk, eggs. Let's talk about spirit boxes even further. So, spirit boxes, again, what's the first question everybody wants to ask when they get a Ouija board or a spirit box or communication device?
Are you with us?
Are you with us? Perfect. Is somebody here kind of mentality? In the event Jasmine hears the answer of no, that means somebody's with us and somebody's here. So they answered us. That's the whole point. We will not be using yes and no questions all night long. Even if you're here just for fun and you're a skeptic of some sort, we're still going to go after some kind of paranormal evidence, and it's not going to be in the form of a yes or no question. In the event that at least we're going to be asking questions here, we are going to ask questions we already know the answers to, just so that you already kind of get the gist of how to use your device. If somebody's here, tell me what color the big red barn is. Obviously, we are looking and listening for the color red. I say looking because Andrea has a word list, and we have the new Ouija board that we don't have to listen to that either. However, those of you using radio stations as conveyed messages, that DJ or song lyric might not have the word red available to answer us right away. Fire truck, blood, heart. I would take that as an acceptable answer because those 3 things are specifically red. So it's not going to be like shirt or shoe or anything like that because there's going to be multiple colors. As far as taking
Plus
your...
their vocabulary is not as advanced as it is now,
Correct.
so they'll probably use simple words.
Exactly.
Like Abigail?
I don't know who Abigail is, but names and numbers usually don't lie. So again, 80%
They live on
of
Abigail
yours-
Lane.
That's true.
What's that?
They live on Abigail Lane. You just got Abigail?
Yeah.
Anyway.
And
No, he's done. I'm going back.
Not everything's going to be counted as paranormal, just so
Yeah.
you know. Like, again, I'm interested in this whole Abigail piece, but I want to see how far it's actually going to take. I normally require that there's at least 2 happenings going on among all of my devices that you guys are holding. Another example. Let's say Andrea's word list said the word art. And who else has a spirit box? So, Travis, actually, here's the number 40 on his. Neither one of those mean anything by themselves, but if you put them together, Art Faircloth was number 40 on Big John's team. Does that make sense? How this is more of an escape room than it is a ghost tour?
I'm
Yeah,
down with
again,
that.
it's about putting the clues together. Yeah, I say escape room and everybody's ears perk up. Like, oh yeah, that makes more sense. So, but again, we're not going to spend any more time here because I think everybody has, well, let me cover the cameras real quick. So 3 of you actually have cameras. We're going to be in spaces where people are going to be walking by and their cars are going to be parked. People don't like to be filmed and they don't like their cars to be filmed. By doing, Andy's coming, I mean, basically you're going to point yours at the ground so we don't look like vloggers. And then with yours, Justin, you're holding a cell phone, very easy and discreet to hold, so you're pretty good to go. And as far as Steve goes, I mean, you can feel free to take pictures as a tourist all night long. So people usually don't mind that. It's filming that they get a little weirded out
I have a
about.
question.
Yes.
Does the red dot mean it's recording?
Yes.
When I turn that?
You should have a timer going right now. I normally look at the front of it. So
I need my
as long as it's
glasses.
blinking, we're good. I'll keep checking on it with you.
Okay.
So let's talk about the thermal imaging. You're going to try to do 2 things for us. I know I said just don't film people, but you're going to try to keep one of us in view. We're the warmest thing out here. Much
Okay.
easier to find a cold spot if we have that array of temperature.
I'm
Okay.
Polish. I'm naturally an oven, so I'm probably pretty hot.
The other
Yeah,
thing you're
reading
gonna try to
110.
do
There we go.
110,
is
yeah.
you're going to try to keep the sky out of view. The
Okay.
reason why the blue dot will default to the sky because there's no surface. So again,
Ah,
if the
okay.
sky's in view, it's going to automatically do that. Some places it's going to be impossible. Just try to do your best.
Yeah. Okay.
All right. So lasers and the infrared. So go ahead and point one of your lasers down for me. And Tony, you're not going to be pointing your camera down at it. You're going to be taking 2 to 3 steps backwards because we're looking for something between the ground and her hand. So again, that's a perfect, yes, we're looking for motion to come through here. That's basically the gist of how YouTube will
And
be
that'll
operating.
show us that something's moving.
It'll show up right here, and I'll get that still shot, and we'll see exactly what it was. So again,
And what is this one?
that one has it's a laser as well. It just has a different style.
Oh.
The red grid.
The red grid. All right, I think everybody now has a better gist on how the devices are going to work. Leah, do you have any number or any letters at all?
Nope.
Nothing yet.
So we're going to turn up your sensitivity. Pardon me. All right, I say we get away from ponies and football players. What do you guys think?
Let's
do
do
All
it.
right, let's go ghost hunt. Let's do this.
I got an N. I got an N.
And an N.
Spell my name out, maybe?
He's scared.
Very scared.
I'll protect you.
Thank you.
This looks like Funko SU. Should I make up shit that it's gonna say?
Welcome to Saturday nights, everybody.
Yeah, right? Party.
Golly.
What is, in your mind, considered cold in this?
It'd be a 15-degree difference from an ambient temperature. So it's about
Okay.
80 degrees out here, so I'll be looking for things 65 and less.
Okay.
Or I'm sorry, 70 and less.
70 miles. Okay.
Yeah. All right, so welcome to technically your first stop, everybody. You made it to a parking lot. Congratulations. Woohoo. I know, I told you, I'm taking you to weird places. So, spirit boxes, I am not going to be giving you questions like what color is George Washington's white horse, like what we did over there with the big red barn. You're going to get the answers from your spirit boxes, and yes, I will withhold information on purpose. So that way everybody here has kind of a genuine experience. Those of you with an earbudded spirit box, feel free to give that other earbud to somebody else to help you out, and somebody within your party, of course. So, where the heck are we? This used to be the Charles and Eliza Pinckney Mansion. It actually sat in the front of this space facing East Bay Street. Eliza's garden was lined up with Five Church Restaurant over there and came all the way across. And we are standing in the servant and slave quarters for the home.
Kennedy.
So, that's the layout of the land. Who the heck were these people? Charles and Eliza had a son named Charles. They had a nephew named Charles. That's 3 Charleses, in case you lost track. You guys see
My
why?
son's name is Charles.
Do you see why we look for those secondary clues now? I don't know which Chuck we're ever chatting with, because if one of them comes through, I need a secondary verifier. So, the son and the nephew, signers of the Constitution for South Carolina. It's a big deal for us, but I hate politics. So let's move on. We're going to talk about Eliza. She has a much cooler story anyway. Eliza married Charles at a young age, according to today's standards, not the colonial times that she came from. If you're going to ask her how old she was when she married, you're not going to hear numbers like 12 and 14. It's going to be according to today's standards. The reason I bring this up is because her husband was over double her age. Kind of a creepy age gap back in the 1700s, definitely a creepy age gap now. So
So it was unheard of back then as well.
Yes. She married him because her father was over in England and he thought he was dying. He's trying to bring all of his children home one last time so he can see him before he dies, and Eliza didn't believe he was dying. So instead, she gets married in 1744. It's not like she married Charles to get a green card. We're not even a country yet. She was right. Dad didn't die right away. Instead, he starts sending her gifts to this space from England. One of those gifts happened to be the plant seeds of indigo. Indigo is a plant that makes blue dye that makes our blue jeans blue. That's how we use it today. But when Eliza got it, she had no idea what to do with it. What do you have?
Sophia.
I don't know who that is, but I'll dive in for sure. Names and numbers normally don't lie. Does anybody live on Sophia Street?
My great niece's name is Sophia.
So I'm just talking about all your family members.
Yeah, you are.
Cool. Back to indigo. She learned from her slaves how to keep it cultivated in these weird temperatures because it's not always hot here. Once she figured it out, she moved it to another plantation, made it a cash crop. Calls her dad up, says rice plantations are going downhill. We can actually make a killing with this indigo. So now we have an international businesswoman during colonial times.
Wow.
Okay. Still nothing yet. That's Eliza's business. That's the boring stuff. Let's get into the weird stuff because that's why everybody is here. So I'm going to go through the spirit boxes and kind of give you guys a set of focus questions to kind of focus on. If you decide you want to go off the beaten path, just make sure they're not yes or no answers. So with yours, I'm going to keep yours nice and simple just because we usually get 1 to 2 syllable words out of it. We're going to go after the mansion. It's not here anymore. You can ask what happened to it and when did that happen. We're looking either for months or numbers to represent the full date. So again, at times, if we get the answer, the full date usually comes along with it. Eric, as far as yours, you are going to go after the children. So the children, I already told you there's one. His name was Charles, right? Sign of the Constitution. There's more. You can ask how many and what their names were, but nothing else. The reason why is because there's a tragedy among those kids. If we poke the bear and start asking what happened to the tragic child, all activity will stop.
Was that tragic child alone?
I wouldn't say he was alone, so we'll get into that. As far as yours go, your specific device has a whole series of words in it, and I've seen these 2 answers pop up in the past. Eliza that we just spoke of was the second wife named Eliza from Charles back to back. Same year. First wife dies in January. He marries the one I just spoke of in May. It's the same year. They ironically have a maiden name that starts with the letter L. So
I got an L. And I got a J. Nick?
hang on, there's like 5 things going on. What's going on?
Yeah.
But you can ask which Eliza we're dealing with by asking the maiden name.
Oh.
So the maiden name will pop up for us, hopefully. So now we're dealing with 3 Charleses and 2 Elizas. Jasmine, as far as yours, anything you want to about Eliza's death, how old she was, where she's buried, what she died from, and what president was a pallbearer at her funeral. So again, those are very specific questions that we often get the answers to. Who else has a spirit box? You have kind of a Ouija there. I'm going to basically have you cherry pick whatever questions fit your fancy, whatever I just handed out. Because that is still new to the tour, I haven't really seen anything prominent that's going to come out of it. Maybe try to get Eliza's initials, which will be GLP, those kind of encounters. So whatever you want to do with that guy. So we are going to be spreading out. Keep in mind there are vehicles in here. We're not going to go near any vehicles. We're not going to be filming vehicles. I'm going to be bouncing around with all of you, seeing what's going on with your spirit boxes. For those of you that have a mute button on your spirit box, you can go ahead and unmute. Where's my millimeter? So Chris, I'm going to have to keep you behind so I can show you how to use that motion sensor. But everybody else, let's spread out. Let's have some fun. And I'll be bouncing around with all of you here in just a minute. All right, Chris, come on over. Have you seen any numbers go on?
What should I ask?
Can you provide me your initials?
Can you provide me your initials?
Initials? Can you provide me your own initials?
What about your kids' initials?
What are my initials?
We look crazy.
They do look crazy.
Oh. Was activated? I feel like we look silly right now. Oh, we definitely. Yeah. We look silly out there. Looking for your wedding ring.
How did you die, Eliza? Tell us. Was it painful? Look at us. We're over here.
I see it.
Do you see red shadows bouncing up and down.
I see hip hop dancing over there.
Okay, this is stupid. This is stupid. Even though it's you. I'm just listening to great water. Can you tell me what president was at your funeral?
What president was a pallbearer at the funeral? Can you tell me if my wife will be quiet?
See any black spots?
Nothing really. Did you get a letter?
I got a Q.
A Q?
I got a Q.
Yeah, I got nothing. MDKLJQ. Are you asking anything, or are you just kind of waiting for
I
something
was
to happen?
asking about Eliza, how she died.
Okay.
I was asking about her kids. Those were most of my questions.
I don't even see any of the initials of the kids. So we're not even on the right path. Whenever I say let's go ahead and give this thing a reset because the line is full, you're going to turn it counterclockwise to the clicks, and then go back and quarter turn.
Okay.
And it'll start you off with a fresh line.
Okay.
Because it doesn't record, I have to make it mess up. We didn't have it. Eric, have you heard anything on yours yet?
Volkswagen, Freedom by Dolly Parton, and health insurance.
How much?
Is there anyone here with us?
Yeah, so the garden was pretty much lined up the way like these people live over there to the restaurant. They just came all the way across.
Is there anyone here that wants to tell their story? Is it annoying that we're here?
Yeah, I think it's always.
said, Eliza, if you think we look like insane people, send me the letter M, and then she sent me a Z.
Eliza, who is your favorite child?
Got a lot of sweat driven down my back.
I ain't got shit.
You got anything?
No. Said bad allergies.
Oh, I don't see anything cold.
I don't think so. You got what? 20?
9.9.
Where are you? Liza, are you here? What's it do?
18.7.
Liza, how did you die?
Tell us how you died. We want to know. Freak episode.
Eliza, do you know that
Literally
you're
just said
dead?
It was like a song, freak episode, like a rap song. Freak episode.
Freak episode.
Yeah. It was
Liza,
like it was a
speak to
rap
us.
song. It said freak episode.
R.
Liza, how did you die?
Tell us.
We need to know.
Liza, was your death sad? If it was a freak episode, did you fall? Liza, how did you die? Wait, I got it. Why? Yes. You fell? You fell. I did say freak episode. You fell. How did you fall, Liza? Did you fall down the stairs? Is it the staircase? Liza, how did you die? Did you fall out of a window? Out of a building? Off of a horse? So, out of a hotel? So a window or a horse or a house?
Off of a cowboy.
Yeah.
Fall off a cowboy.
Did you die during sex? It said freak episode.
Was it worth it?
Yeah.
Was your freak episode sexy?
I feel like if you got
And by
episode,
freak, you mean
and
freaky
I asked if you
episode?
fall and I got a Y, that
That's
means
interesting.
something.
Little baby.
Talking dirty to us or trying to tell us about how you feel?
Liza, did you have children? Let's ask her. She died. Oh, it's alive. No? That was no. Liza, can you hear us? It could be. We'll get a G. A G.
Alright, Leah. Let me take a quick gander.
Did Liza die
Liza, can you
through
hear
a
us?
freak accident falling?
No.
Oh, okay.
This thing went off by itself too. With light
Yeah,
What
it was
color?
red.
Red?
Green and red. Green and red.
Could it be
Reds?
like this?
Well, I
He was
Only-
right here.
Only if something like click the reset.
Oh. Liza, are you here?
Liza, is this you? Can you give me another light? Purple?
Eliza, make the box go to blue. Purple. Pick blue or purple.
Chris, it's just a,
15.8. Can you do it again?
I'm a little weirded out.
This is what you came for.
But no, but I just asked Liza, are you here? And I swear I heard Chris. Really?
Well, the yes and no questions, like, you gotta find another way to get rid of those. That's
She asked how
always-
she died and she heard freak accident. And then I asked if you
Maybe
fall
I'm
and I
hearing
got
you.
a
It's
Y.
coincidence. Whatever. It's probably coincidence.
Alright, I'm gonna bring everybody
Liza, how
back.
did you die?
Liza, can you give me another light? Besides green?
Justin, do you see anything? Liza, are you here? No.
I got no.
I
Everything's
want to
still.
know the
in
story about Liza, okay? This is what I want to know. She fell during
Are you this? I don't think so.
freak accident. She fell during
This?
sex.
Huh.
She's giving you blue, purple. Liza,
Alright, let's
Hey,
go
girl,
back to the space
how
where
did
we
you
are,
die?
Unless Chris is getting more readings where he's standing, which I don't see.
tell us.
Is X-rayed.
37.4.
37?
Yeah,
We figured
22.
it out.
Man, you have eavesdrop. I'm listening to basically static.
What's supposed to occur with this?
You're supposed to see something
You would
flash,
see
like walk,
something go through it, right? Like,
Liza, can you walk in front of us? 21.
Liza, come here.
Are you in front of me?
Liza, can you see us?
Any other
27.
colors besides green?
No.
Let's see if she'll follow us back here. Come on back this way, guys.
What'd she say? Oh. X-rated. It's X-rated.
A lot of that's probably going to be from your steps. So, first thing I like to do is explain what all of these EMF readings are and how they actually relate to something you can remember. So, first you should know we actually see his motion sensor go all the way to red, which is a rarity by itself. I've only seen that a handful of times in the 10 years I've been doing this. So that's actually really cool that we got a red in this location without him moving around. So, and we actually, Jasmine, you saw it too with the red, correct?
Yeah.
The EMF numbers that he's giving me, we went all the way to 37.2, and then Steve with his device said he got up to about a 15 with his, basically walking along the side. What do these numbers actually mean? Measuring electricity in the air. Behind your TV set, there's a bunch of wires. If you were to put Chris's device behind your TV, it's going to read about 40 to 60 milligauss. We had a 37 in here. without any electricity being tied to anything. So take that for what it's worth. He was standing next to a microwave that was running, heating up food. It'd be about 150 to 170 milligauss. The highest I've ever seen that device go has been in this space at 214 milligauss. It's like putting your head inside the running microwave. We left. I'll just say that. Again, I'm the guy with the epilepsy. That's dangerous levels for me. We left. I gave them the answers later on. We didn't even do the investigation here. We moved on. Again, dangerous levels. That's why I say I'm constantly keeping tests. What's that?
Are you getting nervous?
Me now? No. Okay. Not at 37.
All right.
I would get nervous at about 150. But we would still investigate, but I would be at a distance. So let's kind of go through these answers. Those of you with video cameras, feel free to stop them and give your hands a break, so hit the red square. SMJ, is that what you're hearing back
I got SSJT and another S. SSJTS. I got answers.
Yeah, I mean, it's picking up the water here. That's
What are the
cold.
names that we get? What's that? Christian. Go ahead and put yours on mute for me because we're next to hotel rooms. Those of you with the red spirit boxes, do you hear anything? I mean, I know. Jasmine, did you get anything?
I wasn't listening. I'm here.
It's okay.
I'm here.
Alright, so.
I'm sorry. Let's wait until we got to our destination.
Oh, well, this is where I give you all the history. You're supposed to be listening along the way.
Wow.
It's okay. Alright, so here's where we are. First off, we're next to a hotel room, so this is not a very lengthy stop anyway. This is not like we're going to be able to spread out and get any answers anyway. That's why we listen along the way. And those of you that actually have the ones running, like the Envoy, so your camera should be running. Where's the lasers at? Let's kind of get you guys set up. You're actually in a perfect spot. So stay right where you are. Point one of your lasers at the wall, except for when people are coming up. Excuse us. How are you? So literally pointing directly at the wall. There you go. So what you're going to be doing is you're going to hit, there you go, perfect. Basically, we're looking for motion in between that laser, so if anything shows up during your time frame here, hopefully we'll capture on camera. When we crossed that last crosswalk, and I know that was a long trek, so my apologies, it is a Saturday night, it doesn't usually take that long, but that was where the original Charlestown walls used to be. You're standing on one of the first streets we ever had. So the cool thing is that I actually have the full list of residents of every person that's ever lived down here. You guys normally tell me the same two names every 6 to 7 weeks. You guys normally give me the names Benjamin and John. So here's the weird thing about that list. Don't be so impressed that I have a lot of those names memorized because it's not a lengthy list. Only 2 to 5 people live down here at a time. Benjamin and John both lived here at the same time, 1801. John likes to give us his last name because there were 4 different Johns that lived here in a 60-year time span. John's last name was Johnson. John Johnson. His mother must have been evil. Just putting that out there. As far as that goes, we'll get all 3 of those names in that 6 to 7 week loop. Where are we in the loop? Week 2. I'm not necessarily expecting you guys to get Benjamin and John, but I never know. Because again, he keeps changing on me. I'm now starting to look at the moon phases and the temperatures and those kind of things to see what the conditions need to be. Here's the other weird thing. You guys will also give me a third name. Every once in a while, the name Jane will pop up from one of you guys. That's a third person out of 5 that lived here in 1801. I do not find it coincidence that I get all of those names in the same night, and you guys don't have no idea where the heck you're at. Before people lived here, well, let me, explain why we're getting those same names over and over again. We're talking about the stone tape theory here. What does that mean? You're standing on Belgian blocks. These bricks have been here since at least 1739 that we know of. There's going to be somebody walking by so much later. So the historians can't even pinpoint the exact year that these bricks were laid. These bricks are made of granite. They're not supposed to have any type of EMF to them whatsoever. So at times we will get pretty high readings above 1.1. Excuse us, how are you?
Fantastic.
Good.
You?
Good. So, Chris, I'm actually going to have you place, don't worry about the motion sensor, just place your device on any brick you choose, as long as it's dry. It should be, because I don't think the rain really poured down here today. And you can set it down and bounce it all over. We're looking for anything above 1.1 because that's natural EMF from the earth. I see a 5 at this point. Am I reading that right? 5.8. 5.8. That's actually good. I've seen it go all the way to 15 in this location. I know we had a 37 at the Pinckney Mansion site tonight, but a 15 in this location is actually pretty high readings. So he's got a 5.8 where you at now?
6.1, 6.2.
Okay, we're going to let it sit there for a few minutes. Looks like it's growing, so we'll kind of see what's going on with that.
Normally have something with red.
Not necessarily. Do you have the color red on there?
I switched to the
You
laser
did
red.
switch laser red. The other piece that goes on down here is relative to what was here before the people that lived here. The Freemasons had a Masonic lodge here.
I just got
FM.
Freemasons.
Mhm.
Interesting.
and H.
An H, but I'm definitely going to write down FM for Freemason. We will get terms relative, obviously, to Freemasons. We'll get, sometimes those red spirit boxes will give us the word Illuminati. Now, you guys will normally hear that on your way into the location. I find it very odd because, first off, who the hell is talking about the Illuminati on the radio? That's the first question. Second, why are we only hearing it while we're in this space? So that's the other question. So 6 times last year, so far this year, 3 times that has actually occurred, and I verified every single one of them. Just a weird thing to find on radio stations. That's pretty much it for this location. Here's what we're going to go to next. What's our highest number that we have now?
6.6 was what it went to.
6.6.
6.4.
6.4. Okay, I think I wrote down a 6.7. I think was the other.
It's just
Pointing that way, and then
six.
that would be
Six.
photos.
Oh, that's 5.
It's going down now.
Are we supposed to curl?
What's that?
Curl?
No, definitely not crawling anywhere. The streets are a little rough. The next space we're going to is another alley. However, I can't take you all the way through it like what we're doing here. Why? We're being kicked out. You guys have all the blinky lights and the noisemakers and the cameras, and it is considered residential at the end. I'll take a look at it first to see if anybody's actually down there. We may take that one corner because it is kind of a staple for every ghost tour in town. We're going to be hitting those more popular locations that I mentioned earlier. So, Steve, I hope you're taking plenty of pictures for us. We're going to be running into St. Philip's. I'm sure the tourists would love to have some photos of St. Philip's. This used to be called Dueler's Alley. This is where some of the duels used to occur for the city of Charleston. So we'll talk about one specific duel. I tell the story a little bit differently because you're ghost hunting. It's not a campfire ghost story. Here's how it goes. Doctor moves down here from Rhode Island. His name is Dr. Joseph Brown Ladd. He moves down here because he's supposed to get married to his fiancée, Amanda. She just inherited a bunch of money from her dead parents. She has an attorney, Opal Brown. Wasn't a good start to his stay in Charleston.
Wow.
So, here's what happened from there. Somebody was walking by, a local, that knew the coachman, and went up to the doctor. By the way, that guy that was walking by, his name is Ralph Isaacs. He has the same initials as where the doctor came from, Ralph Isaacs, Rhode Island. RI used to show up here even before our Ouija board that we had. So again, he used to show up on your spirit boxes all the time. He tells the doctor, dude, you don't want to stay here. I know this guy's going to try to kill you. There's a gunman inside. Stay with some friends of mine at 59 Church Street and you'll be safe. Dr. Ladd takes him up on this offer and the two guys become friends. The longer the doctor stays down here, the more money he's making and proving that he's not after Amanda's cash. So that means Amanda's moving down soon so they can get married. Dr. Ladd becomes known as the Whistling Doctor. Every haunted city you will ever visit in the future will have a cliche whistling ghost. It's a guarantee. There is proof of this one specifically. I'll get to that. Him and Ralph go see plays together, but they can't sit next to each other because Dr. Ladd makes more money. He gets better seats. Somebody that hires you up. And they talk about the play on the way home, which is the third. Hurricane is really miraculous. Dr. Ladd questions fantastic. Ralph's covered. Gets even more heated when Ralph is insulting Dr. Ladd's fiancée Amanda back home in Rhode Island. Because they're separate ways after the argument. Ralph being from here, goes to his friends at the newspaper, puts an ad in the paper telling the whole city of Charleston what he thinks of the doctor. Disgrace to society kind of mentality. Dr. Ladd sees the ad in the paper and rebuttals with, let's go to Dueler's Alley. We're going to settle this. So they come down, they take their 10 paces, they turn. The doctor pointed his gun in the air and he shot. He did not kill his friend. He just needed to encourage him bravery to show up to the fight, which is often what happened at a duel. Ralph has his one bullet. He puts it in the kneecap on the doctor. So he drops to the ground. His friends pick him up, carry him home to 59 Church Street, where he dies 10 days later. He refused medical treatment, probably because he's a doctor. Probably tried to bleed it out himself. A lot of the stories will tell you that the second best doctor came in to try to heal him and couldn't do it. But again, the research that I've gone through multiple times shows that he refused all medical treatment.
I've got a taste of metal in my mouth right now.
And I have the word carrier.
Carrier? As we were talking about carrying him out of here.
Yep.
The campfire part of this, guys, is that as you walk through the alley, you can hear the whistles from the doctor. Normally, when I used to take my groups all the way through, it was all about the voice recorder. You would listen in to see if there was anything there. Keep in mind, if you're going to do this on your own, and I know some of you live nearby and you're going to come down again, every local knows this story. Anybody walking up and down Cumberland Street or Queen Street on this side throws a whistle down the alley. I do it every single night. We're going to end up the road, and my garage is that way, so I have to pass the alley. So, I do it every night. Even when my daughter's on the tour, we race to see who's going to throw the whistle first. It's just a little game we play. So here's how I got booted out of here. Another little tidbit of history. I used to go all the way through to show off the bricks at the other side. This alley didn't always go through this way, so it was kind of a dead end, which means those bricks are older. Those bricks are sun-dried bricks from slave children. There's a full handprint right at the end of the alley and fingerprint swipes from those sun-dried bricks. I'd always show them off because I'm sure you guys figured out that I'm all about the history. But I treat that brick the same way I do a grave. The kid is not staring at that brick in the afterlife. However, my groups of 10 always wanted to huddle around it, try to get a reading, hear something on a spirit box. Again, I'm trying to shoot people along every single night. November 26th of 2020, my entire group of 10, this size, wanted to huddle around that one brick to try to get a reading. It's outside the dining room window of a beautiful mansion at the end of the alley. The gentleman that owned the mansion came out screaming. He was not very happy with me. My daughter thought it was great because Dad's getting yelled at. So, we left.
What's your daughter's name?
London. We moved on. The next day was Thanksgiving. I didn't have a tour. Friday, November 28th, yes, these dates are relevant, I'm getting to it. I get a phone call asking me to go down halfway, which is what we're allowed to do, or to reroute my group. I didn't feel like it was fair for my group of 10 to work around 20 to 60 other people. So I rerouted my group and told them, basically I didn't believe in the pirate story that I was about to tell them, which wasn't much. Before we left, somebody heard the name Anne on a spirit box. I did not tell them that I was going to be telling them about Anne Bonny, the famous female pirate. So I thought, okay, maybe we'll actually get something out of this. We go up there, somebody else hears the number 300. I didn't know what that meant until I did the research the next day. We were there on November 28th of 2020. Anne Bonny's trial for piracy was November 28th of 1720. We were there on the exact 300-year anniversary of her pirate trial. I'm a vampire guy through and through, which means I didn't know much about pirates. I read and watched more about pirates in the past 2.5 years than I ever wanted to. So again, keep that in mind. Everything we're about to go through with the female pirate Anne Bonny, it's a hit or miss. We never know what's actually going to happen. What's funny is the word red is actually relevant there, which is why I was confused why we were getting it so early. And we had the word magazine at the same time, right? So it was about a few minutes earlier.
And are you sneaky?
What's that?
Are you sneak?
We are kind of sneaking in here right now.
Okay.
Because again, if the neighbor at the end kind of recognizes me, there'll be another phone call. So it is what it is. But again, have fun down here when you come down on your own with your voice recorders, listen in and kind of see what's going on in the background. It will be very, very faint.
Does a cell phone app work?
As far as the voice recorder?
Yeah.
I mean, any voice recorder will work.
Okay.
So most people don't carry one like me. They have the ones on their phone. So
Now, behind you, is that a cemetery?
kind of. Let me explain what this gate is. So there's a reason why I like to stop here. In the event that there was a loser to a duel, which wasn't always the case, this was the shortcut to get to St. Philip's Cemetery. Otherwise, remember, the alley didn't go all the way through. They'd have to go down to Queen Street and walk all the way around with the dead weight. This was much easier. You cut over the courtyard and you go over to St. Philip's Cemetery.
Is this the original
Gate? No.
brick?
Brick, yes. Gate, no. So, again, not a lot of people know why this gate is actually here. So it's an interesting little fun fact that I don't even know where I found it at, but I was like, I'm adding that. Like, that is so cool. So, we're going to go up and talk about crazy female pirates, unless anybody's heard anything or you got something on your Ouija that we need to know.
I got an X and a G.
X and a G. Yeah, I don't know any Xaviers named George. Eric, you got anything on yours? Jasmine, anything on yours?
No.
Okay, and yours is on mute. So, all right, let's head up to the Crazy Powder magazine and let's go see. You guys are like the most inquisitive group I think I've had in a long time. Like super focused, like laser focused. So, you right over there?
What's it saying? It's freaking out.
You should do
Roll the
that.
rainbow.
Ball on air.
You guys seeing all the giant groups that we just passed through?
Yeah, they were all checking out our tools.
Yep, they're jealous.
They're jealous.
So,
And they don't move over. That's not nice.
They were rude.
this whole corner right here from Philadelphia Alley over, like this is a very popular tour spot. And you're going to notice too when we start to spread out that every tour actually stops at St. Philip's. I let them have it. It's their one big show and tell. I am going to tell you the quick story, the quick version of it, just because again, you kind of. Here's why we're here. This is kind of a little bit of a length, but we're going to set you guys free after I go through the history here. We're going to be discussing that little tiny train. See what we got.
What is Dan Bonnie's parents?
Yeah, and they were really close friends in the Rackham was a lot. Like only cool. Boy, this is you try to save me from prison. You say both of them because it turns out the architect was Harry Reid dies in prison while you're escaping with her. Anne Bonnet you saved, but she becomes the child dies, but she becomes your first mate. Yeah. As we enter the parking lot, it's going to be a great opportunity to take a photo of St. Philip's as we get forward. This one is, it's actually served 7 different courses. See any dark spirits, Justin?
No, but the mirrors on the car are really cold.
Yeah. So any type of glass
Yeah.
is going to show like a really, really cold.
Yeah, yeah. Like the side mirrors of this car are like, it
They've
says
probably
like
been sitting here a
40.
minute. Yeah, they've probably been catching on the breeze.
Yeah,
And, you know, and anything metal will go to the opposite effect.
right.
So once the sun went down, I'm sure it started to cool off pretty quick.
Yeah, I haven't really seen anything.
With the cameras, a lot of that is because I put them up on YouTube. It's about the review the next day.
Usually.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So when I do find something, it's not usually in real time. It's a matter of like get as much footage as we can, and that way we can spot check it. And I found even heat anomalies I can't explain. So the opposite effect.
Okay.
Like it's like what the
really
hell's going
hot
on
ones.
there? So I had to like study the law of thermodynamics and like what the hell's going on here. And I'm a writer, so it's like science is not my forte.
That's not my MO.
But again, with the way all of these devices work, I have to constantly read and see
Yeah.
what the new studies are and that kind of thing.
Understandable.
Funny. Usually when you guys get stopped, it's just like, what the hell are you guys doing out here?
But this is very strange. What is it?
This guy's out of my space over here. Might find some other people like.
finding anything?
Not really. He said usually the stuff is found as like review afterwards.
SMJ.
What's the score?
14-10 with 7 minutes left.
Oh, wow.
They both describe, the last two describe him in the exact same manner. So,
14-10?
Let's see. Anything coming up on yours? Nothing on it.
Fell off.
Any colors coming out of yours, Chris?
I had some, even the blue light flickered on, but just for a minute.
I did hear Joseph, if that counts.
Well, his license plate said dark side, and we're all Star Wars, so it was, I was gonna give you a sales pitch, you know. We just did research and found out it. Well, you have the most authentic.
BAXFJ. E.
What is that?
Did you tell him?
J.
Any other letters coming up?
BHXFJE.
Does it matter if I got Jamaican reggae?
Did you hear Jamaican reggae, or did you hear the type of music of Jamaican?
The type of music.
I'm almost gonna call that subliminal at this point.
Alright.
That one's too easy. I'm saying to clear that so correct. I almost want to have to switch it to numbers.
I know my dad's partly too, so.
Oh, you figured out what the numbers were?
Oh, yeah.
You figured out those stupid ass emojis on there too? Like, that's so dumb. Like goes know what the hell emoji is.
I have a question. Is there somewhere along the way that might have water?
There's a vending machine right across the street in the garage. And this is our last stop.
Oh, it is? You're done already?
Yeah. Like we've been out for a long time. I haven't timed it, but I don't know. But yeah, this is our last stop.
Hour 40 ish.
1. Four. 6.
So I think we got started a little early because everybody kind of showed up.
Mm-hmm.
So this will tell me how long we've been up. I don't even look at it. Like I don't say, okay, guys, we gotta hurry up because our time's up here. It's a matter of like, there's nothing going on.
So do you do different types of tours?
No, this is it.
You do the same one over and over?
We got some real stuff.
You got good stuff.
What'd you get?
Oh,
There
Let's
it is.
go.
It's Justin.
see?
Did you find anything? No.
No.
How about you?
No,
I've been
I
switching it
just-
to. I've been switching it to.
Oh, you can do yes, no.
Yeah, I can do numbers. I got all the power.
I can do numbers.
You can do emojis.
Let's do it. Why have we been doing these letters?
How many shots should we drink?
Oh, should we have a shot before we go home?
Okay.
Oh, we got an answer.
Ooh, what'd they say?
No.
No.
Oh.
No shots.
No.
Let's see numbers. How many shots? Oh, 6.
All right.
Okay.
Oh, we gotta
7.
do it.
Oh.
Oh, daredevil. Is he 0?
No, this is 7.
All right. Here we go. 7's lucky number.
Can you be able to walk after that?
Yeah.
I doubt it.
Let's do it.
Shoot me an N. Shoot me an N. So no. Here we go. Yes, no.
Yeah.
Yes or no?
Are our children asleep?
December or November of 98.
And safe and sound.
It's saying yes.
He goes through a period.
Yes.
Okay. It took you a long time.
Any colors? I seen a yellow.
It took you a long time to say yes.
Yeah.
No, it's saying no.
Yeah,
Saying no,
have
it's
you
saying
heard
no.
Maybe not.
Maybe
You
not.
said Fletcher, right?
Yeah.
Mr. and Mrs. Fletcher? John Fletcher or something?
Again, I mean, I can always go through cemetery records.
Which is
Especially-
random.
Yeah, but that's the whole point.
Names.
The random
I
stuff
think it's
is what
just
you
a
want.
radio. Just saying.
That's it's supposed
that
to be
said
the
Dave and Allison Fletcher.
So have you seen? So now we have Dave and Alice, two other. So have you seen the movie Transformers?
Yeah. Well, are you talking about Bumblebee?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Bumblebee, the character, uses the radio to speak to the other Transformers around. That's the same principle of what we're doing out here.
Yeah.
So again, you listening and saying it's just the radio, all of those little things could be adding up to a full story. I've seen it happen. So again, what's silly to you of Dave and Allison Fletcher might be something specific of what's going on in the cemetery, something I don't even know about. So again, it's a matter of like, I'm going to write it down and see if there's an actual tie here, just to kind of see what's going on, if it was anything. If not, I'm going to put it in your notes, and it's going to be just radio.
Yeah.
So again, it'll still be in your notes.
Yeah. Well, that's okay.
It's
That
not
should
the-
tell you
Anything with the word
everything.
mint?
Mint? You have the full word mint?
No, I have MNT.
NT is relevant here.
NT?
So there's 3 Nicks that are relative to this location. Me being the first one because I'm here every night. The second one is Nicholas Laws, the judge that actually tried Anne Bonny. The third one is a Chief Justice. His cottage was on the other side of the Powder magazine. His name was Nicholas Trott. The name Nick shows up here a lot. The first night we were using that, we had 3 N's show up almost instantly the minute we came in here. So it was like, okay, which Nick are you referring to? Because you gave us all 3 of them. So
Well, NT, right? Nick Trott.
Nick Trott.
Yeah.
Ted, too.
Ted? I don't know who Ted is. I don't know who Dave and Allison Fletcher are. But I'm excited. She had full names.
I got Q. QR. Y. It's going ham.
Yeah.
Z.
So basically, this guy works the exact same way that your numbers work. It's going off of EMF signals. So any type of sensitive change, I had the sensitivity turned all the way up because we weren't getting much. Because again, your numbers aren't going to move here that often.
Do the numbers correlate to the letter?
Exactly. It's going to stop on the cursor, whatever, like because it's got a cursor moving through all of the letters. And whenever there's an EMF spike, it stops on the letter and puts it at the bottom. So that way you can kind of read it. Again, it's got yes and no on there, emojis, and then numbers. But the numbers don't save. I like using them, but it doesn't save, so we kind of have to keep a tally of like, oh, we had 1713. You know what I mean? That's 1713 relative to the powder magazine.
You're getting all kind of action on this.
Yeah, it's really
now that we turn up the sensitivity. But again, it's the same principle of like we might have garbage, like that Q and the Z might not mean anything, but the letters around it might. Because again, it's the same principle as the radio stations. It's sifting through, just gather as much as you can and sift through it to see what actually matches up. Don't create anything, but if it matches up, it matches up.
very into Y and Z.
What do you got going on ears? You look, you got to tell me something.
No, I just had remain for a very long time, and now I got smell.
What was the name?
No, it's just the word remain.
Remain.
That's why I was like, oh, well, we'll try a cemetery.
Also remain and smell.
All right, let's head over to the wall.
YZ,
Let's kinda see what we got going on over
YZ,
there.
YZ.
YZ.
It's a zipper, I think.
D. It likes D. YZD, YZD.
So, here's what I'm excited about. A couple of things. First off, the NT that showed up on the little Ouija board guy